Cars, bikes, whatever it is, get out and enjoy it. What's going on, good people? Welcome back again. So what we're gonna do this time is install or do the removal and installation of the Airbox. I initially had the Airbox removed, but what I'm going to do is the reverse process to install it. And if you need to remove the Airbox for yourself, in order to get to the spark plugs and those other items in there, and you'll be able to do that with this video. So let me go ahead and get set up, and then I'll get started on that real quick. All right, first thing you want to do, if you had your throttle body covered, go ahead and remove that. If you guys remember from the previous video, I showed you the block off plates and the spark plugs, how to change the spark plugs and check your coils. So just double check everything, make sure everything is good to go in there. And then you can start installing your Airbox back in place. Go ahead and grab that. It's kind of dirty, so I'm going to wipe it down just a little bit and then go from there. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you'll see it has a nipple here for another tube. There's another tube or hose that is at the bottom of the Airbox, right there. You want to plug that tube in this slot and make sure that it is clamped down. Got that in there. Let me bring you guys in close. Make sure you can see that right there. You want to clamp that hose back in. And now you can seat your Airbox in place. Make sure your screws are lining up. Remember, you have a screw here, one that goes here, one that goes here, and then one that goes here. Go ahead and install those, and it would be the same thing in the reverse process to remove the Airbox. All right, so to remove, these are the screws here. So to remove these screws, you need a 30mm Torx bit, and same for installing them back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop them in place and then go from there. So you have the two with the washers go on the top part, then the two without washers go on the bottom section here. So go ahead, line up everything and screw back on. All right, Airbox is seated in place. The next thing you want to install is the servo motor for the stacks. Now, as you can see, this little motor here, or this handle here, has a very unique looking arm. Not sure what to call it, so I'll call it an arm. And inside the airbox, this is what controls the movement of the stacks. It has this little rod in here with the female end that follows the same shape as that arm. So when you sit this back in here, you want to make sure that this is turned in the right direction. Make sure it falls flush in there. So let me go ahead and drop that in. And once you have that on top, you have 3 screws to install. You have one here, and one there. All right, so just to let you guys know, this little guy here is a handful because that arm has to line up with that rod inside the airbox in order for everything to sit in place. And there's also a rubber seal around that arm that it has to sit inside that hole. So be careful with that, take your time, make sure you get it right. Next thing we want to do is flip our injectors over and slide them in place. Make sure everything line up correctly. And you can see the, what is that, pink or orange seals around the injectors. So it should pop in place for each one. All right, after you drop those in, grab your screws. Should be these guys. So the screws for the motor is a T25, and it's the same thing for these injectors. Go ahead and drop those on there, and then bolt it down. And then you want to pull your harness over. This is the direction that it goes, and the lines are pretty much self-explanatory because they follow a certain pattern. I'm going to say it's under. As you can see, I have 5 lines, right? This one is for my IAT. It has a white strip on it, which let me know that the IAT goes here. And then I have my injectors going in place from here, 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 and here. Once you have that done, then you're pretty much done installing the airbox. All right, airbox in place. Once you connect the wiring for your injectors back in, you should hear a snap. That means it's in place. Go ahead and hook up this wiring for this motor here, which I don't think there's a use for it anymore, but to prevent any error codes, we're going to plug that back in. We'll put a zip tie on here in just a second. And then this goes on your ECU. But before we do that, make sure we have our lines out of the way, because this goes here. Well, this will go on the gas tank. That's the air line that goes to the gas tank. So we'll remove these lines, get them out the way, and we should be good to go. Next thing, you have your filter, which you guys know. I'm running a Sprint filter, of course. Go ahead and drop that in place. Trying to do all of this with one hand, so bear with me, guys. All right, so I have my air filter drop back in place. Like I said, this was an installation of the airbox, but it is the same process. Let me get on camera here. It is the same process to remove it. So what you want to do is go ahead and follow those same steps to remove it. That will conclude that installation and removal of the Airbox. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.